Thank you for tuning into my informative speech here on YouTube. I'm very excited to have you, and I'm very grateful that you took the time out of your day to watch my video. But to kick it off, I want to ask you one simple question. Have you ever been shopping before? No, we've all done it. We've all been shopping. We have all exchanged our money for a product or service, whether it's Amazon.com or your local gas station or your local favorite restaurant. I know Chipotle probably has their rent paid by me alone, especially this one here in San Marcos. So, moving forward, my goal is for that by the time I'm done talking, you know how to get started, how the stock market started, and when you do buy your first round of stocks or your first picks, what happens when they're being traded. So we're going to talk about all that further, but first we need to get to know each other a little bit. My name is Josh Welsh. I'm a junior accounting major here at Texas State. I have lived and breathed and dreamed about investments since I was about 10 years old. It was introduced to me from my current mentor, and he's been giving me books. I'm very grateful for his connection, and he's taught me a lot of what he knows, and I'm hoping to pursue a career in investment banking because of that. And moving forward, this upcoming summer, I'll be working for the prestigious Charles Schwab as an investment banking intern, and that will be kind of the foothold of my career that I'm going to be able to grow off of. And I'm very excited. I'll be able to learn the market trends, market cycles, what's going on right now, especially with the coronavirus and everything. And so I'm very excited that I'll be able to kind of submit myself into the process, as I hope I can kind of maybe poach a couple of y'all to have an interest in that too. So, let's begin. Who drinks coffee? Between you and me, I would snort it if I could. I love coffee. I need it. I'm very cranky if I don't have it, and it's usually the first thing in my day. Now, the first thing in the market was coffee as well. Think about it. In London, they use, or at least, let me give you some stats. Investopedia.com stated that in England, most brokers and investors did their business in the various coffee shops around London. Debt issues and shares for sale were written up and posted on the shop's doors or mailed as a newsletter. Talk about privacy. Also on Investopedia.com, on an American standpoint, the first American stock exchange was created in Philadelphia in 1790, and then New York was created in 1817, which quickly blew up and became more dominant. Now let's talk about that for a second. In London, they had the coffee shops. That was interesting to me just because today, the more technology innovations, the more people working from home, they're utilizing coffee shops to network, which is interesting because they were also doing the same back then when they had no technology. Interesting. But Dutch East India Company was the one who started developing in London and the UK as a whole, where they would start trading, they would bring exports, imports, and they would just start doing stuff like that. Now, one person would send a ship out to a different country, it would get totally wrecked, totally annihilated, wiped out. They wouldn't make any money off their investment. So they got smart, they wise up, and they put money with a team of investors. They pooled their money together. They bought a fleet of ships this time. That way, if a couple wreck, they're banking on one to get it, and it also increases their chances. So that's kind of how it started. On an American standpoint, in Philadelphia, they brought it over. They pretty much brought London's ideas and concepts back here to Philadelphia. But once New York came, it actually blew up more in New York. Why? Give you a second, I'll tell you the answer. It's actually because of geography reasons. The New York is right there. They could send stuff, they can import stuff, they can bring stuff. The Atlantic Ocean is their best friend, and they're just bringing it back and forth and just trading. That's the beauty of New York. Also, they had Wall Street. Wall Street developed. Wall Street people grew. All their money started to grow. They started going crazy. Companies started being big, started being huge. Total fun. I love everything about that. So, take key points from that is New York Stock Exchange was in 1817, and then in 1790 was Philadelphia. New York became a very powerhouse to conclude that point. Now, how can you get started? First things first, you need to get some cash. Maybe get your cash, pile up your savings, and then you got to put it into something that we call an investment brokerage account. You put the money in that account. Now, Josh, what is an investment brokerage account? Well, happy to tell you. According to BusinessInsider.com, a brokerage account is a financial account that holds cash, stocks, mutual funds, ETFs, bonds, and other assets. Examples of this could be Charles Schwab, TD Ameritrade, Robinhood, mainly for beginners, or Interactive Brokers for the day traders. So you pick your account based on what you need, what you want. You hear me mention what different accounts for who. That's exactly what you got to look into. If you're a beginner, Robinhood might be a good idea just because it's so simple. Very simple, very basic fundamentals. If you think this is going to up, you're going to buy it. You think it's going to go down, you're going to sell, or vice versa. Stop, short, sell. You have all those options as well. Something that you need to take into factor when you're picking your brokerage is the commission fees, at least. You need to think about that, and I'll tell you why. Robinhood is a $0 trading fee. That way, a lot of day traders go over to Robinhood because they can do day trades. Also, Interactive Brokers has a very, very small fee. I don't know the exact number, but it's at least under $1 so that you can day trade all day long. And they rack up those commission fees. That's how they get paid. But also, you're able to utilize their analytics in that sense. That's what I was trying to phrase. Their analytics. Their analytics is so critical. Charles Schwab is mainly for people who want to sit down and hunker on some investments, mutual funds, like I said earlier. And just a quick vocabulary lesson, because if you're watching this, I want to tell you what everything is. A stock is just ownership in a company. You own a share of a company. The more shares you have, the bigger the voting rights that you have. And companies have millions of shares, hundreds of millions of shares that they give out to the public. Now, why would I want to give out voting rights, ownership to people in the public? To raise money. To raise money. You need to raise money to expand, to get bigger, to go harder, to do everything that you need to do. So, that's it. I'm not going to get into details on the rest just for time's sakes, but after you pick a brokerage account, how are those stocks traded? After you pick a brokerage account, you found the stocks that you want. How are those traded? Now, that is simple. It's just exchange of ownership. And that is where we go into our next term. If you're writing it down, because I know you're super interested, the zero-sum market. The zero-sum market is pretty much where if I make money, you lost money. If I lost money, you make money. That's it. That is the general concept of it. Now, according to corporatefinanceinstitute.com, most stocks are traded on exchanges such as the New York Stock Exchange that we talked about, or the NASDAQ. Those stock exchanges essentially provide the marketplace. That's what happens when you're being traded. It goes into the marketplace, your trade goes through, and then it exits, and then it happens, and it either turns into cash for ownership of the company or a loss. It's that. It's just that. Super easy. Now, when I bring up the NASDAQ and the New York Stock Exchange, New York Stock Exchange has exactly 2,800 companies in it. And those are the companies that we're fond of, we know of. But there's companies in there that you might have never heard about. But then there's the NASDAQ that has 3,300 companies in it, and those are the Microsoft, the Apple, the Amazon, those top dog ones, those huge companies that a lot of people have their money in. But yeah, so now you know the history of the stock market, how to start your own investment brokerage account, and how those stocks you pick are traded. And in conclusion, I want you to know that when you open an investment brokerage account, it's just like a normal checking account. You just open it up, set your password, set your username, a couple security questions, put your money in, start going. And you know how the stock market happened, how it began, brought over London's ideas over here, started in 1790 and 1817, and then quickly in 1817 it started to go crazy. Now, also, how those stocks you pick are being traded, you know that whenever you buy or purchase the zero-sum market, I think of it as a wrestling match. If I make money, I win it. If I lost the fight. It's just like that, one-on-one, head-to-head, zero-sum. So now I hope when you turn on the news and you see those changing symbols on the TV that you don't think of it as pretty colors with the green and red arrows or just random charts and statistics, but you actually know what's going on behind it. My name is Josh Welsh, and I really appreciate you taking the time to listen. Thank you.